sworn in. Orem's new mayor is in place and explains why he's ready for the job.
Provo makeover. The city is changing familiar signs and going for a whole new look.
And black and blue. Makeup artists in this BYU class can give you a black eye without throwing a punch. I'm Angela Santos.
And I'm Brian Grimmett. It's Wednesday, October 26th, and in Utah, it's 12 o'clock.
From KBYU and the BYU Department of Communications. This is the award-winning 11 News at noon.
Orem Mayor James T. Evans took the oath last night to become head of City Council, filling the vacancy left by the late Mayor Jerry Washburn. 11 News reporter Hannah Dunn went to the meeting last night.
Seats filled up quickly as people waited for Evans to swear in before the city recorder. Mayor Evans told me his past experience on the council will definitely help him in his new position.
James T. Evans served 6 years on the Orem City Council previously, but has never stepped into the chambers as mayor. He raised his hand before the community last night to pledge his commitment for the next 2 years, and he said he was nervous.
I'm a low-stress person, but I had some knots in my stomach and things, but by the time we got to the end of the meeting, right now, talking to you, it's like, you know, we're going to do this.
Mayor Evans is experienced, but his experience is from more than 20 years ago. Coming in mid-term, some wondered if there will be a learning curve he can't get over, but Orem City Attorney said there won't be.
That's one of the advantages of him having served here before, and I think he'll be up to speed. I'm confident you'll see that by the next meeting.
When sworn in, the mayor said that the meeting's opening prayer is one of his favorite things to hear. He also asked his family to stand during his remarks to thank them publicly. As new mayor, Evans will spend a lot of time in council, but in his off time, he has a surprising hobby.
He likes to DJ. He loves music, and he will DJ parties.
You will see Mayor Evans voting in council meetings, but you might also see him at the next wedding you go to.
After Mayor Evans took the oath last night, he participated fully in the meeting. He will serve 2 years in his position and then has the opportunity to run again if he chooses. Brian?
People in Spanish Fork are waking up and finding their gas tanks empty. Police say thieves are drilling holes into tanks and stealing gas, leaving behind hundreds of dollars worth of damage, and they believe teenagers to be responsible. Police encourage people to be on the lookout and say thieves are targeting trucks because they are easier to drill into.
A blind professor is suing Utah Valley University claiming wrongful termination. Stephen Moranville says he came to UVU in 2009 after the school promised him tenure. UVU later terminated him for being too tough on students. Moranville is seeking $250,000 for loss of income. UVU has until next week to respond. Mayor Curtis held a meeting last night to hear the public's ideas on how to rebrand Provo. 11 News reporter Christy Richmond went to the meeting and tells us where they plan to go from here.
When you think of Provo, what comes to mind? The people of Provo say rebranding is necessary because, as of now, Provo does not send a clear message about what it represents.
Well, the rebranding is important because it's how we're viewed by the world. And so the right message, articulated the right way, will help the world understand what we want them to know about us.
The city has hired an agency called RED to help them develop a distinct brand identity. They hope to eventually have a logo and look so that when people come to Provo, they know what it stands for. The mayor and the agency invited the public to the meeting to get their opinion on what Provo means to them.
So we're trying to really include everybody in Provo in that process, from city employees to residents to businesses to students, and trying to have their opinions.
Provo officials say that with the rebranding, they hope to bring unity along the main roads in Provo.
The most important thing is that we spend a lot of time understanding who we are and how we're viewed by other people. We can't change how they view us if we don't know how they're currently looking at us.
Now that they have the public's opinion, the next step for RED is to work on making the new look. Everything from changing the feel of downtown to the city logo. In Provo, Christy Richmond, 11 News.
You can check out Christy's story online at 11news.byu.edu and click on the link posted there to cast your vote on what you want Provo's new brand to look like.
Nu Skin's popular anti-aging products have boosted their stocks to an all-time high. It's nearing $49 a share with earnings at 72 cents each. The company sells body care and nutritional products. They host their annual international convention in Salt Lake this week, and the company says that could generate up to $12 million in revenue for the city.
Utahns leaving their vehicle idling for more than 2 minutes now run the risk of being fined. In an effort to lower air pollution, the Salt Lake City Council voted unanimously to make idling a vehicle a punishable crime. The City Council says drive-through businesses will be exempt from this law, but will be required to display signs enforcing it. The city is giving a 6-month grace period before fining violators in order to promote awareness.
A passenger tried to carry a loaded gun onto an airplane at Salt Lake City International Airport. TSA officials arrested the man and say this is the 5th time they've confiscated a firearm during baggage screening this month. FBI officials say they plan to release the man and won't file federal charges because he wasn't trying to hurt anyone.
A Morgan City Council administrator will serve 48 months in jail for embezzling nearly $1 million. Garth Day pleaded guilty to money laundering and stealing federal funds to pay for personal expenses. Day's attorney says he hoped to get house arrest and turn himself in. The judge sentenced Day to jail time and to pay nearly $500,000 in restitution.
Still to come on 11 News at noon, Occupy out of control? Protesters and police clash on the West Coast.
And picture perfect. Why it'd be hard for you to tell the difference between what's real and what's not in this makeup class. Stay with us. Protests turned violent in California. A self-proclaimed reptile man wrestles a gator in Oregon, and people living in Atlanta get a rare treat, seeing the northern lights. Here's your look at news from across the nation. Occupy Wall Street protests in Oakland erupted into violence last night. Police made dozens of arrests and fired multiple rounds of tear gas in an attempt to disperse the crowds. The outburst came after police removed nearly 200 demonstrators who had been camped out overnight at City Hall. Police say they had warned the protesters before turning to violence. When Oregon animal control officers couldn't catch a loose gator, one local man thought he'd give it a try. Casey Montoya heard about the lurking alligator, and after patiently waiting on the shores of Gresham Pond, he wrestled it into submission. Montoya, who is also called the Reptile Man, plans on keeping the gator in addition to his other 6. The southern states got a rare treat this week. People as far south as Oklahoma City and Atlanta saw the northern lights. This video is a time-lapse from the skyline in Perry Lake, Kansas. A solar outburst caused the orange and pink light show hundreds of miles south of where it usually glows. These southern lights only happen in the south every 3 or 4 years. And that's your look at news from across the nation. Brian?
Many people make sure to wash their hands at restrooms and meal times, but what about at the gas pump? A new study shows that gas pumps are some of the dirtiest things you touch. Mailbox handles and ATM machines also made it to the list. After looking at all the hands that touch these surfaces, you may want to carry sanitizer with you the next time you go to the pump. Sticks and stones may cause bruises and break bones, but did you know that makeup can create the same effect? 11 News reporter Janae Anderson gives us a behind-the-scenes look at some special effects you won't forget.
There's tears, screams, and even blood at the Provo Missionary Training Center. This may look like a disastrous scene, but it's actually closer to a scene out of a slasher movie.
Obviously, it's not real blood or guts or anything that we're putting on people, but that's makeup. We apply it with brushes and sponges.
Students in this BYU stage makeup class are putting their pencils and powders to good use, making fake victims look hurt for a risk management mock disaster. They staged this event to help certify people in emergency services, and the more authentic the makeup job, the more authentic the training.
You have to think about what happens in real life. Like in real life, when you're bruised, you get, the blood pools down there, so your bruise is going to fall.
That kind of wisdom must run in the fake blood, because amid all the crowded chaos in this makeup room, these artists are still able to blend and rouge their way to a picture-perfect injury.
A lot of the makeup out there looks really realistic. Blood makes me queasy, and so it's been interesting.
The mock disaster is the ideal setting for students in stage makeup to take what they've learned in class and apply it to a real-life situation. Actors come in with a blank canvas and come out
looking pretty horrific. I have head bumps and wounds.
I don't remember because it happened so fast.
I am dead with blood coming out of my ears and nose.
And though she may be laughing, these burns and compound fractures show the class is more than just blood and guts. It's a chance for these artists to demonstrate their mastery of makeup.
I wanted to understand every facet of the theater and just try to be as experienced as I possibly could. So I'm taking this class really seriously.
Either way, students say their hard work pays off if rescue workers actually buy into the myth behind the makeup.
I think the greatest compliment that you can give a makeup artist for doing something like this is thinking that it's real.
Well, Janelle, it looks pretty real to me. In Provo, Janae Anderson, 11 News.
Yeah, it looks pretty real to me as well. It's kind of disgusting, but any BYU student can take the stage makeup class. In addition to the gory makeup, the class also teaches students how to create other effects like old age and glamour makeup.
If it's a good time to have a break and go get some water so we don't throw up here. So when 11 News at Noon returns, basketball is back. A new conference means new challenges. Find out what to expect this season from your Lady Cougars.
Howling House. This Halloween decoration will put your pumpkins to shame.
And sunny skies today along the Wasatch Front may be a little deceiving, why you might want to keep a jacket handy. Your 11 weather when we return.
It seems like fall's really hit hard. It's been really cold the past 2 days.
Yes, I forgot to bring my jacket this morning, and walking up the hill, it was like I was like shivering.
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure you have a jacket handy today because the temperatures aren't going to get that much warmer. It's going to stay cool and breezy throughout the day. This is a beautiful shot in Provo at Center Street. So you're going to notice like clear skies, a few clouds, but it's going to be sunny and it's still going to be cold. So currently right now outside it is 41 degrees, and that's a little chillier than we were yesterday at the same time. So it's going to get a few degrees warmer, but it is going to struggle to get to 49. So definitely jacket weather. You want to keep that handy because throughout the day it is going to get a little bit more breezy, and as we head into the evening it's going to be even colder with a sunset at 6:31 today. Clear skies are going to bring that temperature all the way down to 29, so freezing temperatures throughout the Wasatch Front. So make sure if you haven't turned on that heater yet, it may be time because you may wake up a little bit chilly. And that storm that moved through yesterday, it didn't hit the Wasatch Front, but it did intensify as it got closer to the east because there's more moisture there for it to pick up. And it is a slow-moving storm, so southern Utah is actually the one getting the brunt of it. And they had some snow this morning around Cedar City, so in the higher elevations we may see snow throughout the day and rain, but it should move by later this evening. Today, it is the highs around the state are 46 in Windover, 48 in Nephi, and even farther south it's staying at 50 in Cedar City. So southern Utah is going to be breezy and chilly, and over the next 5 days it may warm up a bit. 65 today as that storm moves through and into the 70s, so it will be a beautiful weekend down south, but not as nice as it was last weekend. Northern Utah will remain chilly, especially in the evenings. Like we talked about, 29 tonight, very cold, and in the 30s. We will climb back into the 50s as we get closer to the weekend, but it's not going to be those warm temperatures that we've been used to during the fall times. So you will want to maybe pack a jacket, or if you're like me, maybe a coat, because I'm freezing.
And for once, I'm glad I'm not in southern Utah because snow in Cedar City.
Yeah,
that's
I'm definitely not ready for the snow right now.
Yeah.
It's coming, so.
Thanks, Jake. So the NBA canceled 2 more weeks of their season?
Yeah, Rachel, what am I supposed to do without the NBA? I need my basketball.
Yeah, guys, the NBA might not be starting their season for a little while longer, but next on Sports, I'll show you how you can still get your fix of basketball this season, even if the lockout continues. And the BYU women's basketball team tips off this week. See how the Lady Cougars plan to continue their winning tradition this season in the West Coast Conference. Sports is next. Stay tuned. BYU women's basketball team is perfecting their plays as their season approaches in hopes of building on last year's 25-9 record and their 3rd Mountain West Conference title. 11 News sports reporter Bridget Osler tells us what we can expect from the Lady Cougars this season.
The BYU women's basketball team has 9 new freshmen and 2 new assistant coaches. Returning players say the new additions are working hard to improve the team.
I think the whole team, with all the new freshmen and the new coaches, is just clicking really well. Probably better than expected, so we're excited.
The team is now part of the West Coast Conference, where Gonzaga has claimed the conference title for the past 7 years. But Coach Judkins says his versatile team has potential to change that trend.
I can go big, small, quick. I think we have a young team, but we have a team that's had some experience, so I think that'll be a real positive thing.
And players say they hope to do more than win their new conference.
I think the big monkey that's on our backs right now is the NCAA tournament and not making it the last couple years. So
coaches say the team focuses on improving every day so that playing in the NCAA tournament at the end of the season becomes a reality.
We just want to bring the same energy and maintain it throughout the whole practice, because that's when it counts, is the first quarter to fourth quarter.
The Cougars face a tough non-conference schedule, starting with a home game against Duke, who finished last season ranked 6th in the nation. Coach Judkins says he hopes fans will come support the team on November 11th.
And you get a great seat, and Cosmo will be right there with you. So.
At the Marriott Center, Bridget Osler, 11 News.
You can catch the Lady Cougars for the first time this season on Friday in a blue and white scrimmage. They then play in 2 exhibition games at the Marriott Center against Western Oregon and Dixie State next Thursday and Friday. Cougar fans, it's time. And just like the women, BYU men's basketball is finally back in action. Tonight in the Marriott Center, the team will host their annual blue and white tip-off. After the scrimmage, the Cougars will host a Meet the Team autograph signing with free posters. And guys, you better get your autographs now, because you never know which BYU Cougar will be the next Gymmer. The event is free and will begin at 7 p.m. And the fun doesn't stop there. Tomorrow afternoon, basketball fans will have a unique chance to chat with head coach Dave Rose during the West Coast Conference Online Interactive Media Day. Each WCC coach will take part in a live Q&A session, and fans can submit their questions via Twitter and Facebook. The interviews will stream live on YouTube and WCCSports.com. The Dallas Stars surprisingly continued their winning streak in a nail-biter against the Phoenix Coyotes last night. The 2 teams battled it out in overtime and then headed to center ice for a shootout. 8th round, both teams tied at 1 goal, and Dallas defenseman Trevor Daley becomes the brightest star on the ice when he snipes this one past the glove of goalie Mike Smith, scoring his first career shootout goal, giving the Stars the 3-2 win and the #1 spot in the West. Now guys, with all this excitement, BYU sports, we don't want to forget Game 6 tonight, World Series, Rangers up 3-2. Think they're going to take the win?
I sure hope so. I mean, I hope they even play the game. I heard that there's some weather moving in. It might be delayed.
Could get delayed.
So it'll be good. But yeah, I will definitely be watching it, even if my wife isn't that happy about it. Still to come on 11 News at noon, Loud Lights. A Halloween house plays a dizzying light show to one of your favorite songs. We'll be right back. Hundreds of people come out to this California home on Halloween, but they show up for the eye candy. You won't find any pumpkins and witches decorating this party rockin' house, but how about a light show instead? Every year the owner installs thousands of LED lights and plays Halloween music. The house talks, dances, and sings and makes you want to join in. This year the house dances the night away to LMFAO's Party Rock Anthem.
It's pretty cool. I like how the pumpkins move their mouths to the
Just makes me want to, dance to the beat.
They probably give great candy, like king-size candy bars trick-or-treating.
I don't know. With all the money they probably spent on those lights, I'm not sure there's going to be any money left over for candy. So those kids,
Who knows?
Maybe they need to move on to another house.
If you don't get any candy.
That's true, you could.
And that's your 11 News at noon for Wednesday, October 26th.
You can join us anytime on our website, 11news.byu.edu.
Thanks for watching and have a great afternoon.